Hi all, good evening.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
All right, guys. So welcome to the session. And today we are going to talk about cloud computing, right? And how you can compare with the different cloud vendors, right? So as you know, there in market there are multiple cloud vendors, right? The AWS is there, GCP is there, IBM is there, right? But how we will be able to differentiate it, right? And which cloud vendor we should go with. And as you know, this batch is purely for Azure. Okay, so we are not going to discuss on AWS and GCP. But yes, wherever it is needed, I will be letting you know that what is basically the difference in the services, right? What is the difference? What is the service called in Azure, and what is the service called in AWS? So all those comparison, I will be helping you out. Okay, so if we will talk about cloud computing, then what it is and why it is popular nowadays. Anyone can give your thoughts. Just unmute yourself and just try to explain it that why what is cloud computing and why it is being used nowadays. Anyone?
Because is a more comfortable. We cannot buy infrastructure like a physical infrastructure, like a proper PCs, computer. So that's the easiest way to you can do login user ID and password and can access whatever you need to through the cloud. Sorry.
Okay, correct. Anyone else? Any other thoughts?
As a backup for data loss,
Okay, backup recovery. Okay, you can store your backups on cloud. Correct. Anyone else?
It is the more reliable with respect to other because this is the web-based technology. So in this technology, simply we have to log in with our web portal. So this is the more easier and more expensive and more comfortable with the user and me as well.
Correct. The major part.
Yes.
The major thing, guys, right? If I'll compare it with on-prem, right? If I want to work on on-prem, so first of all, I need to connect to the VPN so that I will be able to enter into my office network, into my company's network, and then I will be able to perform changes on my servers or on my infrastructure. But cloud is purely based on the web console access. If you have the web access, you can log in into your portal through any corner of the world. Just internet connection is needed. That's it. Right? And this is why it is popular. If you will compare it with on-prem, then obviously we have to procure the hardware. We have to purchase the hardware. We have to configure it. We have to plan the backup for it. If let's say we are configuring one file server, right? So we will be needing one more server. So that if server one will down, if file server one will down, so users will be able to access the data from second server. Likewise, there are multiple features that we are going to install in the servers. So for all those features, we have to configure the backup. And for this, we have to procure the hardware. And obviously, if you are going to buy the if you're going to purchase the hardware, then you will be needing a data center also. The site also where you are going to mount your all servers. Then internet connectivity. Then power connectivity, power failure, power backup. Then if let's say something went wrong with your hardware, right? We have to again purchase that hardware part. And it might take time because obviously if you're going to procure the hardware, then we have to export it. And majorly it is going to be from Taiwan. It might take time. So these all are the drawbacks with on-prem. But with cloud, no need to worry about anything. Even if you are opting for AWS or you're opting for Azure or you're opting for GCP, everything is going to be managed by the cloud vendor. You have to just configure your virtual machine over there. That's it. And rest of the thing, power backup, internet backup, hardware failure, all these things are going to be managed by that cloud vendor. Ultimately, we will be able to access our services. Whatever is happening on backend, all these things are going to be managed by the cloud vendor. That is why it is so popular nowadays. All right, now let me share my screen. So guys, hopefully it is visible for everyone.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. So I have a comparison sheet where I can show you that what is the difference basically. See guys, there is no as such difference, to be very honest. Whatever you are able to do on AWS, the same thing you can do in Azure also. The difference is only terminology. That's it. In AWS, virtual machines are called as EC2 instance, elastic compute, right? And in Azure, it is called as virtual machines, right? In AWS also, you are configuring VMs, but the term is different. So that is why there is no as such difference. Even if you are going to learn Azure, you will be able to work on AWS also. You have to just understand the terminology. That's it. And it is just a matter of 10 to 15 days. So once you will go through with the console, right, you will be able to work on AWS as well, because concept is same, but terms are different. Right, now let's see that what are those terms and what is the comparison. Okay, so mm, yeah, so I'm just going to the Microsoft documentation only. All right, now let's see. First of all, marketplace. Guys, whatever we used to configure, right? If let's say you want to configure a firewall, Palo Alto firewall, right? Then we have to go to the marketplace. Like in our Android phones, right? This Play Store is there, right? And from that Play Store, we can download any of the application. So same way, in case of cloud computing, right? It is called as marketplace. So in case of AWS also, it is called as AWS Marketplace. And in case of Azure also, it is called as Azure Marketplace. And let me give you one idea. If I log into my Azure portal, sorry, right? So you can search for the marketplace here, marketplace. And whatever service you want related to security, related to network, related to compute, storage, everything, you will be able to get it. Guys, please mute yourself. I will give you time, right? Then you can unmute if you have any query. Huh, right? So whatever you want to configure, right? You can select from here. You want to go for storage, you want to go for DevOps, you want to go for networking, you want to go for web services. So everything is there in the marketplace. Same way, AWS also has the marketplace. That is what I told, right? There is no as such big difference between AWS and Azure. Only the thing is terminology, right? So if I'll talk about AI and machine learning, in AWS, it is called as SageMaker. And in case of Azure service, it is called as machine learning only. It is called as, here you can see Alexa Skill Kit. And here it is called as bot framework, and other services also related to AI and machine learning. You can see what is going to be the difference between the name. So these are the names difference. Services there in both cloud vendors, but only the name is different. Now, in case of big data, right, it is called as Redshift, right? And here it is called as Synapse Analytics. In order to uh, uh, lake formation, a simple and safe service for sharing big data. If you want to share your big data, right? Nowadays there is a boom in big data technology also, Hadoop basically. You know? So in that case as well, if you want to share your data, big data, so in that case you are going to use the lake formation in AWS service. But in Azure it is called as data share. Likewise, all these difference you can see here. Analytics, virtualization, compute. Now see, this is what I was telling you. In virtual machines, in AWS, it is called as Amazon EC2 instance. And here it is called as virtual machine. All right. And other things also. Auto scaling. In AWS, it is called as AWS auto scaling. And in Azure, it is called as virtual machine scale set. So the thing is, whatever the features are there in AWS, the same feature are there in Azure also. The difference is only their name, their terms. All right. So if you want to just go through with it, I'm giving you this link in the chat and you can go through with it. Right. No doubt, guys, AWS is the market leader. Around 33% share AWS is holding. But Azure also has 25% share. Okay, because AWS is very older one. If you'll compare it, right? So it started in around 2004 or 2005, right? But Azure, Microsoft Azure, it was started in 2010, February 2010. So because of this thing, that is why AWS is holding a good market share. But again, Microsoft is also leading and it is on second number. Okay, so this is the common difference, guys. You can just go through with it and you can get the idea. Or even in our classes also, in time to time, I will be explaining the services which is being used in AWS and which is being used in Azure. I will give you the idea on it. Okay. Now the benefit of cloud computing. Yes, no doubt. We need not to worry about the procurements and all. We need not to worry about the power failure. We need not to worry about the network failure. Because in case of cloud, right, these things are going to be managed by the cloud vendor. We have to just get the service. We have to just configure the service. And rest of the things are going to be managed by vendor. But in case if you will talk about your on-prem, so you will be needing a data center, right? You will be needing the hardware firewall. You will be needing the switches, right? Backup servers, server racks, right? So multiple things you have to procure. Like these are going to be your server racks. And then for these racks, you will be needing, you are going to mount your servers on these racks. And then you will be needing switches, routers, ISPs. So all these are the requirements in case you are going to configure your on-prem data center. And if something went wrong with the hardware, then we have to wait for at least 20 to 25 days because it takes time. Right? Same way, I will be needing switches. I will be needing firewall, routers, access points. So everything is needed. Because obviously we have to make our infrastructure secured. So all these things we have to procure if we are going to talk about on-prem, and even power also, right? And then you will be leading the ISP backup as well. Okay, and then you will be needing the air conditioned environment as well. So all these things you have to take care. And the major part, if something went wrong with the server, right? If something went wrong with the data center, then until or unless you are not going to troubleshoot all those stuff, you will not be able to get your services back. As simple as that. That is why cloud made our job easy. At least we need not to worry about all these things. If I am going to create any virtual machine on cloud, either it can have Windows machine or it can be a Linux machine. So whatever the resources are needed in order to run these VMs, power, internet, firewall, IPs, hardware, everything your cloud vendor is going to manage. You are
Sir,
just going to configure this virtual machine in a single click. Yes,
uh,
please.
sir, actually, I heard a term known as a segmented firewall. Is it something different from a regular firewall, or it is the same thing?
No, it is something different. So that we will discuss in our upcoming topics. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
So yeah, let's not cover this thing now. Today
Okay.
we
Thank you.
have that topic, firewall topic. Over there we will discuss this thing.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. It is just a basic class basically for today. All right. So all those things we have to, like, we have to just create a virtual machine in a single click, and we can define that what is the compute power we will be needing in order to run this virtual machine. Let's say I'm going to run some critical application on this machine. And for that, obviously, I will be needing a high compute power, right? For example, I took two virtual CPU and 16 GB RAM. Two virtual CPU and 16 GB RAM. But later on, I realized, but no, that this compute power is not enough for this virtual machine. Then do I need to delete it? What do you think?
No, just request just request to vendor to increase the RAM capacity and CPU utilization.
Why to request? We can do from our own. Whenever it is needed that we need to expand the compute power, we can do it by our own. Let's say I want to make it as 4 virtual CPU and 32 gig of RAM. I can do it by my own. I need not to ask to vendor. Vendor is giving me the services. I have to opt the service. I have to select that which service suits me the best. And yes, whenever I will feel like that, no, unnecessary. I'm just wasting my money. I can go back to two virtual CPU and 16 gig RAM. It will take 10 seconds, maximum 10 seconds to increase or to decrease the compute of your virtual machine. But at the same time, if you will compare it with on-prem, do you think it is possible?
No.
We have to see first of all that whether that motherboard supports extra CPUs or not. Or even if it supports, then again we have to wait for the vendor. We have to wait for the procurement team that they are just going to make the request, and then it will take 10 to 20 days in order to get that hardware, and then we are going to stop our virtual machine. We have to open the hardware, and then we have to insert that hardware in our server. This is also a comparison, right, with cloud and your on-prem. Right? So whenever you want, scaling is possible. Scale in you can do, or scale out also you can do. That is also a benefit of having cloud resources. And this cloud says, even AWS or Azure, it used to give pay as you go service. For example, I opted for cloud. I got a subscription for cloud. So I need no to pay for that subscription. First thing, only the vendor is going to start charging me as soon as I am going to configure the services inside that subscription. Now you can take my example, right? I am using already pay as you go subscription. Okay, I will let you know what these subscriptions are basically. Okay, so if I'll, where it gone, man? See, I'm using pay as you go service subscription basically, right? And I have not configured anything here. If you will see my current cost, it will be zero. Why zero? Because I just took the subscription. I have not configured any resource inside it. I'm not running any resource inside this subscription. As soon as I will configure one virtual machine or firewall or anything, whatever the service Microsoft is opting, Microsoft is giving, right? If I'll configure any of the service, then only Microsoft will start charging me. And as soon as I will delete it, then again they will stop it. They will stop charging me. And they are just going to create the invoice that for how long you have used that service. Let's say I used it for 2 days, right? So in that case, Microsoft is going to charge me for that 2 days only. This is called pay as you go model. All right. Now, hopefully, like you all are new to cloud, right? Might be you're already working as a server administrator. You already worked on servers. You already worked on the security network, multiple things. But whenever you decide that no, I don't want to use on-prem service, I want to go to cloud, then what and all things you have to worry about, or basically what and all the process you have to follow in order to go with the cloud service, that we will discuss now. Okay. So yeah, Okay, cloud has different types of models also. That also we will discuss now. Okay. So cloud computing. So as I told, cloud computing is nothing. Cloud computing is also a data center only, guys. Right? Microsoft also has the data center. Obviously, whatever the VMs you are configuring on cloud, ultimately it is getting configured on a hardware. But that hardware is not now in front of you. It is managed by the Microsoft. As simple as that. Same way, storage, server, multiple types of services are there in cloud. You just need an internet connection on your laptop and you can connect the service. You can connect the console, cloud console. Even you can connect the cloud console from your personal laptop also. It doesn't require your office laptop. You can connect it through your personal laptop as well. Right? So cloud is nothing. It is also a data center. But that data center is not managed by you. That vendor is managing data center for you. And how the data center looks like, I will give you a virtual view after this. Okay. So just be in the class. Yeah. So it is the delivery of compute resources or services over the internet. Just over the internet, you can connect any of your service, your storage account, okay, your storage services, your file services, your network, your firewall, your virtual machines, your databases. So everything, if you have internet connection, you can manage it. So this is what cloud computing is. All right. Then, yeah, you can see rather than managing files on a local storage device, cloud computing make it possible to save them over the internet. All right. Like you can take example of OneDrive. You can upload your data on OneDrive and you can access that OneDrive from any corner of the world and you will be able to get your data back. Earlier, you used to have your external hard disk, right? But that external hard disk should be physically available with you, then only you can access the data of it. But OneDrive is making your job easy. You can save the data and even you can give the access to others also. Whatever the data you have on your OneDrive, right? That access you can give to others also. So that is the benefit, right? Every time you need not to carry your hard disk, your external hard disk, or even your laptops also. OneDrive can be accessed through your phone as well. You can download the data from phone also, right? So this is the benefit of having cloud. Then types of cloud model, cloud computing. So in deployment model, there is public cloud, hybrid cloud, and private cloud. And in service model, it is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. All right. So if I'll go to deployment model, so you can see public cloud. So public cloud is basically available for everyone. Available for everyone. Right? You can configure your virtual machine. You can take the subscription of Azure and you can configure your VMs. Likewise, everyone can do it. So in that case, what will happen? So if I'm taking example of public cloud, so on the back end, it might possible, let's say this is the server, which is there in the Microsoft data center. And multiple users has took the subscription of Azure. All right. So for example, this is user one. This is user two. This is user three. So it might possible that if these users are going to log in on their Azure portal and they are trying to configure a virtual machine, right? So that virtual machine is getting configured on this single server. This is for user 1. This second virtual machine is for user 2. And this third virtual machine is for user 3. They have their dedicated subscription. It doesn't mean that the other user will be able to, or let's say I can take example that these are 3 different companies, right? And these 3 different companies are trying to configure their virtual machine. Now guys, it doesn't mean that the user of another organization will be able to access the virtual machine of first company, but resources are on shared basis. On this single server, Microsoft has allowed to create 3 virtual machines to 3 different companies. This is what public cloud is. It is available. This server is available for everyone. Everyone can come and they can configure their virtual machine. This is what public cloud is. Now, private cloud. In case of private cloud, if let's say you are taking the subscription, so in that case, this server is dedicated, assigned to your organization only. Microsoft is not going to allow other companies to configure any of the virtual machine on this server. Only company 1 can do, only user 1 can do. Other companies will not be able to configure any virtual machine on this server, because this is the dedicated infrastructure which is assigned for your organization. Only your company's employees will be able to make use of this server. Others will not be able to. Microsoft is not going to share the resources with other subscription of this server. It is purely for you. It is purely for one organization. This is what private cloud is.
Hi, sir.
Yes, hello.
In a public cloud, it means in a public cloud, we have only the user access or with the share hardware, right?
No, see, in case of public cloud, right? So this server, let's say this server has a good compute power, right? So in that case, multiple companies can configure their virtual machine on this server. Let's say you also took the subscription of Azure, right? So in that case, I'm trying to mute yourself, please. Right? So yeah, so I'm just giving the example. Let's say you took one subscription and I also have one subscription. So it might possible that whatever the virtual machine you are trying to create, it will be there on this server. And same way, whatever the VM I am trying to create, it will be on the same server. Because Microsoft is sharing the resources with other subscription in case of public cloud. It is not dedicated for my organization. Got it?
Okay, clear.
And in case of private, a dedicated hardware is going to be assigned for my company. Microsoft will not going to allow any other subscription apart from me. This is what private cloud is. Clear?
And like if any organization wants to move from public to private,
Yeah, they can do that. They can just raise a
so
request.
so like a cloud provider will be sharing the dedicated resource with them.
Yes.
Like if it is built in that public environment, in the
Huh.
above example, like 3 organizations are using the same infrastructure, or
Okay.
yeah.
Huh. So
So
in let's say earlier you were using public cloud and your virtual machine was configured on the public cloud, right?
right.
But now you decided that no, you want to move this virtual machine to the
Private.
So Microsoft, what it will do, Microsoft will move this virtual machine to your private cloud. Microsoft will delete it from here, okay,
Okay.
and it would be moved to the private cloud.
Fine.
Got it?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we
And
have hybrid. Yep.
in a private cloud, they
Hmm.
charge for the resources.
It would be extra if you will compare with public.
Okay.
Private is
Suppose
more expensive, guys.
suppose I want to add one extra CPU, just like for an example, I
Huh.
want to use one extra CPU. Then it charge for the CPU, the other CPU only, na?
Obviously.
We charge for the two CPU.
No. See, if you took earlier, if you took two virtual CPU, right? But later on you
Right.
decided that you want to add one more. So it is going to charge you for one more CPU. Earlier two it was already charging, right? But now they will start charging for one virtual CPU also.
Okay. Or in a public cloud, they charge for resource per service only.
Nahi, in case of public also, if you want to expand the compute power, if you want to increase the compute power, you can do.
Okay.
You can compute, you can increase the compute power. But in this case, the dedicated hardware is assigned for your organization.
And in the dedicated hardware, we install any application,
Whatever you
anything,
want,
any.
whatever you want.
Okay. And
No
in a
one is going to have access on it.
okay, in a public cloud, they charge for the hardware plus services.
Yes, whatever the compute power you will select, based on that, Microsoft will give you the pricing.
According to our requirement.
In a last question,
Hmm.
suppose I want to use in a public I'm talking for public cloud. Suppose
Hmm.
I want to use Excel service. Okay, so in a public cloud, they charge for Excel as well as for resource.
What service you are giving example? Excel,
So Excel service.
Office 365, Office basically you're talking.
Basically the Office 365. So they charge for Office 365 and addition they charge for hardware resource.
Office 365 is a software as a service, first of all.
Okay, right.
We have to take the license of software as a service by Office 365. That is other thing. Here we are talking about the compute.
Yeah,
All right.
just want to clear
For Office 365, you have to get the license first of all.
license. And
And
plus
that,
resource charges will be added in a with it.
bro, Azure is different service. Office 365 is different
No.
service.
Just I want to clear. I
Don't
agree.
club
I
it.
agree.
Huh.
No.
Okay. So now hybrid cloud. So hybrid can be the combination of both public and private, where actually you want to keep something on public, you can keep it on public cloud, and where actually you want to keep the service, where actually you want to keep your services on private, you can keep it on private. And hybrid, you can say it as the combination of your on-prem infrastructure as well as your cloud infrastructure. That is also called as hybrid cloud, right? Then we
Right,
have
right.
service
Hi,
model.
hi, sir.
Hmm.
In a hybrid, one local server is also there with the cloud
With cloud, yes.
in a simple way.
Yes. Okay, for example, you have one file server, right? And you want to synchronize the data of that file server to cloud server also. So then it would be example of hybrid cloud. Okay.
Okay, clear.
Then, so you can read it. Public cloud provides a shared platform. This is what I told, right? Shared platform. This is what I given you the example, that it might possible that three companies are going to share the resources of a single server. Okay. And in case of private, a dedicated infrastructure is going to be created for a single organization. Okay. Then hybrid is a combination of both public and private. This is what I told. And these are the service model, which is infrastructure as a service, like creating your infrastructure on cloud. If your business needs a virtual machine, opt for infrastructure as a service. Platform as a service. If your company requires a platform for building softwares, product, pick platform as a service. So basically, infrastructure as a service is being used by the administrator, like we, right? We are going to work as a cloud operations engineer or cloud administrator, right? So it is this service we are going to use it. If let's say if any client wants us to build their infrastructure, so this is our responsibility that we are going to create their infrastructure. We are going to build it for them. We are going to create the virtual machines for them. And you can see services are available on pay for what you use. This is what I told initially, that Microsoft will only going to charge you once you will going to start using the services. All right. Then we have platform as a service, PaaS. So this service is basically being used by the software developers, right? If let's say they want to build any application, so for that application, obviously they will be needing any platform, that whether they want to write that application on .NET, on Python, right? And they want to test their application also. So to test their application also, they will be needing the platform. So in that case, developers can go and they can configure the platform as a service. They will get the predefined installation already on the machines. If let's say they want to go for Python, so if they are going to opt for platform as service, so they will get the Python installed in the infra. They have to just run their code onto it, and then they are just going to test it. So this is what the example of platform as a service. Then we have software as a service. The biggest example of software as a service is Office 365, Intunes, right? And these Google apps also is the example of software as a service. Because see, if you will compare, right, with Office 365, earlier you used to build Exchange server in the environment, in the on-prem data center. But now, if you are going to opt for 365, right, then no need to configure the server. Microsoft is going to manage it. You have to just configure your rules. That's it. And rest, wherever it is getting configured, whatever hardware is needed, all these things are going to be managed by Microsoft. Same, you can take example of Intunes. So Intunes is what? You can manage your end devices through Intunes, right? And the same thing you were doing through SCCM also, Software Center Configuration Manager. But in case of SCCM, you have to build servers in your on-prem data center. One is going to be your domain controller, then your database server, and then your primary site server. So these servers you have to build in your on-prem. But again, in Intunes, you have to just take the license, that's it. And whatever infra is needed, whatever storage is needed, whatever thing is needed on the back end, it is going to be managed by the Microsoft. So these are the biggest example of software as a service that are totally based on cloud. And even you can compare it, right? If you are already working in the organization, so definitely your company is going to use 365 and then this Intunes in your organization. Okay, so this is software as a service model. Then there are multiple cloud providers are there in the market: AWS, Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud, VMware. But now VMware is called as Broadcom. Okay, then GCP, Google Cloud, and then DigitalOcean, Alibaba. Multiple cloud vendors are there. but the market leaders are AWS and Azure. All right. So life cycle of cloud computing. If let's say you decided to opt for cloud, you are already working in on-prem, right? You already knows that how many servers are running in your company, right? What and all network you have configured, how you have configured your security, how you have configured your file server. So everything you already aware of. But you want to move to cloud. Then what and all process you have to follow in order to go for the cloud service? That is going to be these steps. First of all, define the purpose. That why cloud is needed and which cloud suits us the best, public, private, or hybrid. Because obviously guys, for company, cost also varies, matters. Right? So based on that, you are going to decide that what kind of cloud you want. Then define the hardware. How much compute is needed, how many servers are, how many virtual machines are needed, right? Then you are going to define it. Then the third point will be storage. Obviously, you are going to store some data. So where you are going to where you are going to store it, and do you want the backup also of that storage? So all those things you are going to decide in this third step. Then network. Obviously, without network, virtual machines will not be able to communicate. We will not be able to access any of the data of virtual machine, or they will not be able to communicate with each other as well. So in that case, we will define the network, that which network suits us the best. We want to go with class A network. We want to go with class B, class C, right? We want low latency, right? Higher transfer speed. So in that case, obviously, if you are going to do the network segmentation, then obviously your network is going to be fast, right? Then the fifth step, security. Security is must always. If you are securing your infra in your on-prem, so same way you are going to secure your infra on cloud also. No doubt Microsoft is making sure that your data is going to be secured. But along with it, you are going to configure your own security rules as well. Right? Then you will be needing some management tools. Management tool in the sense, in order to monitor your infrastructure. Let's say the virtual CPU, the CPU utilization of your virtual machine is getting up to 90%. So obviously you should get the alert. Until or unless you're not going to get the alert, how you will be aware of it? And in such scenario, your services will not be accessible for the customers. So you should get some alert. So to get those alerts, we can go for the monitoring tools. Microsoft also has it inbuilt alert tools, monitoring tool. But if you want to go with any third party, that also you can decide. Like you can go with Acronix, you can go with Datadog. Multiple tools are there. That is must, right? Because you want to monitor your infrastructure. All right. Then the seventh step will be testing and process. So once you are clear with all these things, then you are going to test it, whether whatever you want to achieve, is it possible or not? So for that, you are just going to create a test environment. So if test environment is working fine, then only you are going to deploy it in the production environment. This is what the life cycle is in order to opt for the cloud service. Even if you want to go for GCP, or you want to go for AWS, or you want to go for Azure, the steps, the process is going to be remain same. Now, any doubt, any question till now before I go further?
Can you clarify the testing the network? Network in the sense ki to access the resource, or we define our own network, just
Building
like
the network,
we install
yes. Building
building
the
the
own
network.
network. Hmm.
It means on an on-prem premises we install router switches like that, no?
In case of cloud, right, these all devices are going to be managed by the Microsoft. You have to just configure your rules, that's it.
In a virtual router and switches.
Yes.
Okay.
So we are going to create here virtual network, right? Under that virtual network, we will decide that what kind of, whether we will be needing public IPs, we will be needing private IPs, what is going to be the IP range, what and all subnets we want to configure, right? What and all
Right.
ports we want to allow. So everything is going to be there in the network.
Right. Clear. And the manage and process tool, this application, third or Microsoft application or any third party application,
We
we
have
have
both
to
options.
both options. We have to install that application in virtual machine,
If you
not
are
in
going
our
with
local
if you
machine.
are going with any third party, then you have to install the agent. If you
Okay.
are going with the Microsoft native, in that case, no need to install any agent in the virtual machines.
When you using the third party application, they allow access to monitor that hardware resources through
Ha,
their own portals.
correct. We are just going to register that virtual machine so that it will start reporting to our third party tool, and then we will be able to monitor it. Hmm. Clear?
Clear, clear, sir.
Anyone else? Any doubt? Any question?
Like how that migration will happen from on-prem to cloud, like down,
Migration.
like
Mhm.
transfer, like services transfer from on-prem to, if we take like small example from one data center and one branch office,
Hmm.
so we need to like shift our on-prem network to cloud. Like there is a downtime, or we cannot shift the production services like in
Hmm.
one go. At
Hmm.
least we need downtime. How we can start that? Like it's a planning, I know that, but
Hmm.
I'm little bit confused about.
No, obviously we have to decide, right? Or even we are not going to do it in one go. We are
Right,
going to
right.
do it in, we are going to do this thing in batches,
Mhm. Right, right. Yeah,
right?
that is understood. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now let me give you the idea of Microsoft. But I told you, right, that Microsoft also has a data center where actually whatever the virtual machine you are configuring, right, it would be there on a hardware. It would be there on a physical hardware. Now, how that data center looks like, let's go through with it. Microsoft. So this is the real time data, guys. This is the global data where actually data center is available, where actually Microsoft has the data center, right? So if you will select the, you can see it is in South Central US. If you will click, you will be able to get the details. It is in Texas. Year opened 2008. And what and all services are available, you can check the services also. view for the sustainability, see products in this region. So you can check that what and all services are available. Same way, if you want to see it in any other region, you can just move this globe and then you can check it. See, this is in South India, where it is in Chennai. Year open 2015.
Mm.
All right. So this is how you will be able to get the real-time data. And now the virtual tour. If you want to see the virtual tour, then in that case, let's go to it. See, this is the data center. And they are using the renewable sources for power, solar energy or wind energy, right? So if I'll enter into the lobby, if you want to explore it, you want to see that how lobby looks like of Microsoft data center. This is how it looks like. All right. So if you will go next, you will be able to see the operations room. This is the operations room. We're actually including power, cooling, network, and security. And if you want to explore it, see, multiple users are sitting and they are monitoring the whole infrastructure on this big screen. All right. Now, if I'll go next, this is the mechanical area where actually you can see the power and all, right? Backup, cooling efficiency and all. But it is not our job to check it. Let me go to server room. This is the thing which we should be aware of. Now, this is the server room. See, right? These are the blade servers, server blades. So if you have ever seen server in your data center, right? The same thing is available in Microsoft data center also, but they have a huge compute power like this. Generation 9 blade compute, Azure Cobalt 100. These are the different hardware available. Okay. And same way you will be able to see other things as well. What it is. See. Server blade, and these are going to be the server room watch video. If you want to see the video, you can go through with it. See, this is the real time video now. This is the virtual and this is the real time video. What happened? Is there issue with my network? Yep. So this is what we have seen here. Right? So this is the idea on the data center of Microsoft. All right. And in our course, guys, we are going to cover 104, 500 and 700, which is 104 administrator, cloud administrator. Then 500 would be security, and then 700 would be your network expert, security expert, and operations expert, 104. Right. And in 104, whatever the topics are there in the Microsoft website, so we are just going to cover those all topics. And it is totally based on the labs. It is totally based on the practicals. So what and all topics are there in the Microsoft website, we are going to see the live example. We are going to see the practical example of all those things. And along with it, I'll be providing you all the PPTs related to this course, right? Interview questions and how you can crack the global exam. That also I will help you out.
Can you show us the certification hierarchy? Like, uh,
Certification. Okay, so see, first of all, there is a certificate of Azure 900, right? So 900 is the basic. It is basic only, right? Then you can go for Azure 104. Let me see. Mm, Azure certification. Okay. Okay, this is 305, huh? Yeah, associate level. We are doing this thing, right? We are going to do it at associate level, which is AZ 104, right? And then later on, if you want to go with AZ 500, that is the security associate, right? You can do this security also. Whosoever is already working in security or whosoever already worked on the firewall, right? They can opt for 500. But before going to the 500, you should be aware of 104. Then only you can opt for these 500. Likewise, we have 700 also. Why it is not visible here? Okay, just a second. We have fundamentals. This is the associate level, right? 104. This is what we are going to learn. 104 first, right? And then later on, you can decide if you want to go for 102. Where it went, that image here. Nine hundred 104 AZ 500. Okay, at associate level, we have 500 and 104, right? And then the network administrator level, we have 700. So first we are going to focus on 104, because in 104, we will mostly cover network part also, and we will cover security part also. And in 500, we are going to learn at advanced level that how security can be configured at advanced level. So that we are going to learn in 500 and 700. But first we have to focus on 104. And after 104, after 500, you can go for Azure Solution Architect, AZ305. And then after that, you can go for DevOps, AZ400. But first, I would suggest 104, go for 104, then 500, then 700 if you want to go for, and then Solution Architect. And after that, DevOps. This is the idea. Got it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir.
And how to book the exam, right? So all these things I'll be helping you out. As I told, there would be the PPTs, right? So all these PPTs, assignment, interview questions, right? So everything would be there for you. I'll be uploading it on the Classroom, Google Classroom. So from there you can download it and you can start working on it. Same way I have for 500 or 700. Now, any question for me before I tell you?
Hmm. Is this class in English only or English or Hindi mix?
It depends on the majority, right?
Okay,
So
okay,
if all are okay with Hindi, we can go in Hindi as well. Or if let's say there would be a communication bar, then in that case we will see how it would be.
okay.
Yeah.
And how is long going 104 and after 500?
104 will take around 1.5 month.
If
So
we not
basically
take
you can
any,
say if we don't take any leave and all.
yeah.
Okay. So one month or 1.5 month basically. 1.5 would be the max if we are taking leaves also. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so mostly it will take around 4 to 5 months to complete 104, 500 and 700.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Anything else? Now to how to get the subscription, how to create the account, all these things we will be discussing in our first class. Okay. And I would recommend if you can arrange a credit card, right? So that I can help you out in order to create a Azure account. If not, then I will give you some more options. We'll decide accordingly. Okay. All right. So if you have any query, you can connect with the support team. They will help you out. And might be the classes is from tomorrow, or I'm not sure on the regular classes. So team will inform you accordingly. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So I'll see you in the next
Okay.
class. Thanks for
Thank
joining,
you.
everyone. See you. Bye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.